Welcome to Poddy, April 26, 2026. A deep dive in. Today, we're diving into something that's going to hit close to home for a lot of listeners. The brutal reality of job applications in 2025. We've got some pretty eye-opening data about LinkedIn's Easy Apply feature, success rates across different platforms, and why your current job search strategy might actually be working against you. If you've been clicking that Easy Apply button thinking you're being efficient, well, you might want to stick around for this one. We're talking about response rates as low as 3%, some surprising platform comparisons, and what this all means for job seekers trying to navigate an already tough market. So let's start with the headline that caught my attention. LinkedIn's Easy Apply is a waste of time. Now that's a pretty bold claim, but the numbers behind it are actually pretty shocking. We're looking at response rates of only 3% to 13% for LinkedIn Easy Apply, compared to Indeed, where it's closer to 20% to 25%. And there's another data point that really drives this home. Research shows LinkedIn has a 3.3% application to interview rate, which one source calls the worst of all job platforms. Meanwhile, Google Jobs has a 9.3% success rate. That's almost triple LinkedIn's performance. Now, my take on this is pretty straightforward. When something is that easy, it's probably not that effective. Think about it logically. If you can apply to a job with literally one click, so can everyone else. And that's exactly what's happening. One headline puts it bluntly. Easy Apply is where resumes go to die, noting that you're competing with 500 plus other applicants who click the same button. The volume is just overwhelming these systems. When hiring managers are flooded with untailored resumes, Easy Apply applicants naturally slide to the bottom compared to people who took the time to actually customize their application. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something I think a lot of job seekers don't fully grasp. There's this whole skills paradox happening right now. Get this, 85% of employers claim to prioritize skills over degrees, but 86% now require formal proof of skills like portfolios or certifications. So even if you have the skills, you need to document them in a way that hiring systems can actually process. And when you're using Easy Apply, you're basically just throwing your standard resume into a black hole with hundreds of other people doing the exact same thing. Let me share a real example that really illustrates this problem. There's a case study floating around about someone who applied to 147 LinkedIn jobs in 30 days and got 3 interviews. 3? That's roughly a 2% success rate, which actually tracks with that 3.3% application to interview rate we mentioned earlier. Now, I don't know all the details of this person's approach, but it sounds like they were probably mass applying through Easy Apply. And look, I get it. When you're job hunting, especially in a tough market, it feels productive to just keep clicking and submitting. But the numbers suggest that strategy is actually counterproductive. So what's the alternative? Well, we're seeing headlines about tailored job applications versus mass applications, and the data here is pretty compelling. Even though it requires more work up front, one source mentions that thoughtful applications had approximately a 10 to 15% success rate to get an interview. Now, that might not sound amazing, but it's literally 3 to 5 times better than the Easy Apply numbers we just talked about. The math is pretty simple here. Would you rather send 100 Easy Apply applications with a 3% success rate or 30 tailored applications with a 12% success rate? You get roughly the same number of interviews, but you've invested your time way more strategically. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying LinkedIn is a bad platform overall. It's obviously huge for professional networking, and there are definitely success stories. But the Easy Apply feature specifically seems to be creating this weird dynamic where convenience is actually hurting candidates. When something is frictionless, it loses its signal value. Hiring managers know that Easy Apply applications require 0 effort, so they naturally assume less intent and interest from those candidates. It's like the difference between someone who shows up at your door with a handwritten letter versus someone who sends a mass text to your entire neighborhood. And here's something that really gets me. We're told that 2024 was a tough year for job seekers, with success rates at an all-time low. But a lot of that might be self-inflicted through these mass application strategies. If everyone is flooding the system with low-effort applications, of course the overall success rates are going to tank. It becomes this weird race to the bottom where quantity trumps quality, and ultimately everyone loses. The platforms get overwhelmed, hiring managers get frustrated, and job seekers get discouraged by terrible response rates. So what should you actually do with this information? First, if you're currently relying heavily on Easy Apply, maybe it's time to rethink that strategy. Those 20-25% response rates on Indeed suggest that platforms with slightly more friction might actually work better for you. Second, consider investing more time in fewer higher quality applications. Yes, it's more work up front, but if you can get your success rate from 3% to 12%, you're going to save time in the long run and probably preserve your sanity too. And third, think about how you're demonstrating those skills employers claim to want. If 86% of them want proof of skills, make sure you're actually providing that proof. Look, I know this is probably frustrating to hear if you've been grinding through Easy Apply applications for months, but understanding these dynamics can actually be liberating. Instead of feeling bad about low response rates, you can recognize that the system itself is working against you and adjust accordingly. The job market is tough enough without accidentally sabotaging yourself with ineffective strategies. Do your own research on this stuff. Look at the actual success rates for different approaches. And maybe, most importantly, remember that quality beats quantity when it comes to job applications. Thanks for listening, and good luck out there.